Hi friends and companions along this path of spiritual practice. Case number 16 from the Mumunguan, a collection of Zen Buddhist koans. One day Zen Master Yunmen said, "This world is vast and wide. Why do you put on your robe at the sound of the bell?" For anyone who has done monastic practice, the temple bell rings in the early hours of dawn, breaking the night. The birds are calling and you wake up and you make your way to the meditation hall. The chanting has already begun and you find your folded robes and you touch it to your head and you can feel the light pressure. And as you recite your vows, you unfold your robes and you put it on. Zen Master Yunmen is asking, when the day is fresh, when the world is filled with possibilities, when it's vast and wide, why do you tie yourself up with bells? Why do you put on these structures and robes? The bells, for anyone who has stayed at a monastery, governs and signals and monitors the whole day's practice. It's not just about the robe. There's a bow that you do when you enter into the Buddha hall. There's a bow that you do to your meditation cushion. There's a bow that you do to the practitioners who are across from you. And there are 3 times the bell is rung to begin the meditation. There is once ringing of the bell to conclude the meditation. 2 times it's rung to signal walking meditation. And there are different sorts of bells. There's a bell for meditation. There's a bell that is rung for a talk. There's a separate bell that is rung for meals. Zen Master Yunmen is asking, why when the world and life is fresh and open to so many possibilities, would anyone want to put on their robe? A modern day version of this might be, why when the world is so fresh and so many options, why at the morning alarm clock do we wake up and put on our work clothes? There are so many things challenging at work, difficult coworkers, so many emails to be caught up on. Why, when there are so many possibilities, would we want to get ourselves tied up in all of that mess? Isn't that why we come to spiritual practice and take our meditation seat so that we can find our way into a sense of tranquility, a sense of timelessness? No bells, no alarm clocks. Maybe Zen Master Yunmen's question is not a real question. It is a provocation. It's protest. It's saying, why do you want to do all of this? Why so many alarm bells? Why putting on robes and following liturgies and rules? Why do we do all these things as if we are just being robotic and on autopilot? But maybe Yunmen's question is a sincere why, asking us to reflect and to explore. And you and I can imagine responding to Zen Master Yunmen's question. Why? Why do we wake up to the alarm clock, and why do we answer so many emails, and why do we do all these things? Well, Zen Master Yunmen, it's because the world and our life, it's not so vast, it's not so wide. There are responsibilities, there's work that needs to be done. There are lots of little things that we need to juggle and take care of. We're not so free. there are not so many possibilities. That's why we come to meditation, that here on this cushion, we might find just a little taste of freedom. That in this private moment of meditation, we might know a more free life. For we know that in the greater culture, this koan is poking at the question of freedom. Our culture is intoxicated with freedom in many ways. We highlight among our values this notion of autonomy and equality. Autonomy, which is about having my freedom and having it in whatever way that we autonomously want to have our freedom. And equality, equality that will protect and safeguard our autonomous freedom. And everything is fine, of course, with autonomy and equality, so long as the other people's practice of their autonomous freedom doesn't interfere with my own autonomous practice of freedom. There may be some things to help with that. What if we can disarm differences so that the other people and I, we're not that different. So even if there's a little bit of interference, their values, their goals in life are pretty much similar to my own. So we should just disarm any threatening difference, and then we can have our autonomous freedom and equality. And maybe having a consumerist culture helps as well. Maybe meaningful experiences can be packaged and consumed. Then meaning doesn't have to be negotiated between self and other. The consumer market sort of takes care of all questions of meaning for us. Or maybe one of the other helps is, what if we keep equality in the public domain? Everyone follows these rules of equality. And let's keep autonomous freedom in the private domain of our lives. And so what we do is we privatize our freedom. We privatize our spirituality so that at home, in our private sphere, we can have our freedom to do whatever we want to, and we'll suffer the rules of equality in the public. But privatizing freedom plays and manages with the scale and scope of freedom, but it does little to teach us about what freedom means, what freedom is for. What if Zen Master Yunmen is reaching for what freedom truly is? Freedom that is free of this duality between the public and the private. Freedom that transcends such divisions. Freedom that is not fragmented and divided between the world that is vast and wide and the bells and the alarm clocks and the robes that we have to wear. What if freedom is not just a freedom from that smaller understanding of freedom, but what if there is a freedom with, or a freedom for, which speaks of a larger, greater kind of freedom? At the sound of the bell, Friends, you and I, we will put on our robes. Our robes that sometimes look like blue jeans and sweaters and vests, sneakers. But Zen Master Yumin is asking, when we put on our robes, will we find a freedom that feels as vast and as wide as our life? And so we continue with our spiritual practice.